Carolyn Hicks Ta understands the Ebola outbreak in Liberia all too well. Ta is a native of the United States, but she's lived in Liberia since she married her husband more than 40 years ago. Now, one very important thing for every family to have in case of a fire is an escape plan. If you've been to the gas pump lately, you might have noticed a welcome surprise. Gas less than $2 a gallon. But how long can we expect this money-saving trend to continue? And with Halloween just a few days away, many people came out wearing their costumes. If you've been driving through the streets of Birmingham lately, you might have noticed something out of the ordinary. A truck with an unusual message attached to the side of it. Some other important safety tips include walking in well-lit areas like the one you see behind me, staying in groups or populated areas, and always being aware of your surroundings. I'm Jolyn reporting. 1 year ago today, Rashad Cole died in a horrible car accident, leaving his family heartbroken. He was just 10 years old. Rashad's great-grandmother, Julia Bolden Smith, says the family has had a very tough time dealing with the loss of someone so dear to them. While they would give anything to have Rashad here with them, they know God is taking care of the little boy they loved so much.
And I know he's all right. He's in heaven.
He was an energetic little boy who loved football and baseball and practiced playing both of his favorite sports here in this park. The accident that took Rashad's life happened when the car he was riding in crashed into a nearby recycling plant. The woman driving the car that killed Rashad has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for his death. She had left Rashad along with her own children alone in the car while she visited 2 local bars. She was drinking. Rashad's grandmother, Tondresha Smith, says they think justice has been served, but jail time doesn't change the fact that they've lost a loved one.
It's not going to bring him back.
The family is doing their best to move forward and don't harbor any bitterness toward the woman who took Rashad from them.
And if she's watching, I'd like to tell her we do forgive her, but we'll never forget it.
Rashad left behind a baby sister named Kaylin. The family says that while she may be too young to remember her big brother, they plan to be sure she always knows who he was. On August 13th of this year, Rashad would have been 11 years old. If you've been driving through the streets of Birmingham lately, you might have noticed something out of the ordinary. A truck with an unusual message attached to the side of it.
It's kind of stopped traffic a little bit, but I guess that's the point.
Joseph Shahid suffers from a hereditary disease which causes his kidneys to swell to the size of a softball. Joseph, as well as several members of his family, are affected by the disease, which along with the swelling causes other problems for those who have it.
That it's like acne, really, and it forms, it pops, causes an infection.
Due to the constant stress and damage his kidneys have undergone, Joseph is now in stage 4 kidney failure and needs a transplant. He is on 2 waiting lists to receive a new kidney, but it could be years before one becomes available. To bring awareness to the need for living kidney donation and shift the odds a little more in his favor, Joseph came up with the proactive idea of using his truck to bring attention to the issue.
But, I want to do that for me and other people who need a kidney.
Joseph's daughter, Delal, says that while Joseph's condition is scary for the family, his experience has been positive and uplifting.
People look at it as a sad thing, and this way they laugh and smile and say hello, and so he makes it positive and bright.
Joseph drives his truck every day while constantly meeting new people who share a story similar to his or just want to offer support. This is Jolyn reporting. At first glance, this may seem like just another parade, but if you look closely or just listen, you will notice this parade has an awful lot of one thing: fire trucks. Somewhere around 30 of them to be precise. Fire departments from all around Alabama gathered here in Montevallo for the city's 38th annual Fire Prevention Parade. While a lot of candy was thrown out from these trucks, sweets were not the only thing firefighters had to dole out to the gathered crowds, because this event is about both fun and education. According to the National Fire Protection Association, an average of 7 Americans a day die in fire. The leading cause of fires is cooking equipment, followed closely by heating equipment. With the winter season soon approaching, firefighter Shane Caton of the Oak Grove Fire Department offers this advice.
Be very careful during the cold weather months coming ahead. We want to watch how you use space heaters, the use of extension cords and space heaters, and the other alternative methods of heating.
The theme of this year's parade is Smoke Alarms Save Lives, but a lot of homes don't have them or they don't work. The NFPA estimates that the number might be as high as 60%. Caton stresses the importance of preparedness when it comes to fire prevention.
And make sure you have working smoke alarms Make sure you have
Also key is being sure your family knows what to do if you're ever involved in a fire. Now, one very important thing for every family to have in case of a fire is an escape plan. Not only should you have an escape plan, but you need to practice it as well. Studies from the NFPA show that around 75% of Americans have an escape plan, but they have never practiced it. So far this year, 70 people have died in fires here in Alabama. This is Jolyn reporting. When Rosemary Tribble was 25 years old, something terrible happened to her that changed her life forever.
A man was there that grabbed me and began to strangle me in the neck and then put a gun to my head.
Rosemary was raped. Every 2 minutes, someone in the United States is sexually assaulted like Rosemary was. After the rape, Rosemary started a nonprofit organization called Fear to Freedom. The organization is dedicated to bringing awareness to the serious issue of sexual assault. They go around to college campuses because college women are very much at risk for becoming victim of sexual violence.
Statistics show that 1 in 5 female college students will be sexually assaulted or abused during those 4 years of college.
Tonight, Fear to Freedom visited Birmingham Southern College. Students listened to moving stories from Rosemary and other survivors like her. And while many of them want to do something to help, sometimes it's difficult to know exactly what to do for someone who's been hurt so badly. That's where organizations like Fear to Freedom come in. Chandler Terry and other students like her were given the opportunity to make a difference in the life of someone who's experienced abuse or sexual violence by putting together care packages.
It feels good to know that I am actually doing something to help and give back that will make a difference.
Each kit was packed with new clothes, soap, shampoo, a hairbrush and comb, a teddy bear, and a journal. Plus a simple gesture of hope in the form of a personal note written by the person who packed the box. By the end of the night, 225 kits were made and will be delivered to a local rape crisis center and the YWCA.
And we want people to become aware of the fact that this is a crisis.
Carolyn Hicks-Ta understands the Ebola outbreak in Liberia all too well. Ta is a native of the United States, but she's lived in Liberia since she married her husband more than 40 years ago. She is stranded here in the United States while worrying about her family in Liberia. No one in her family has gotten sick from the virus, but she has no idea when she'll get to go home because travel to Liberia is restricted due to the outbreak, which has reached crisis proportions. She says no one thought the situation could become as dire as it has.
It had happened before in other countries, Uganda and some of the other countries, and it did not spread this far. So therefore, people were just sure that it's not going to affect me. I'm not going to be affected.
A secondary but still very serious effect of the Ebola outbreak is a major food shortage in Liberia. Eddie Gibson is the chair of the Ebola food drive being held here in Birmingham.
Here in America, in Birmingham, we have food stored up in our refrigerator and pantry. The average person in Liberia goes out daily to buy meat and grain.
Gibson wanted to do something to help, so he got together with several local churches and schools and organized a food drive. He says they've been getting a great response so far. Many members of the community are coming out to drop off food like rice and beans, but a lot more is still needed. This is Jolyn reporting.
And it's really easing my pockets.
Everyone likes saving money, and Farron Jones is no exception. She's a college student, so for her, every penny counts. For the past few years here in Alabama, gas prices have been very expensive, at some points in time reaching nearly $4 a gallon. If you've been to the gas pump lately, you might have noticed a welcome surprise. Gas less than $2 a gallon. But how long can we expect this money-saving trend to continue? Oil prices have fallen to their lowest levels in years. This is a huge relief for Farron.
Oh, I don't have to worry so much because the prices have gone down.
According to research from International Business Times, the low gas prices should last well into the first half of 2015, but will begin to rise again. Decreasing supply and demand will cause manufacturers to produce less product, resulting in gas prices eventually going back up in the second half of 2015. Right now, Farron plans to appreciate the low prices for as long as they stick around.
Yeah, I can have a little extra money to spend.
I'm Jolyn reporting.